She's number one at being dumb, the new face of the DNC. Gather round, cause that's our Jazzy.
Jasmine Crockett's got another hot take. No blacks and whites on a wedding cake. The Democrats' new chosen one, Jasmine Crockett, is in the news again for an old clip where she attacked Florida Rep. Byron Donalds for marrying a white.
It all began with a scandal that caught everyone off guard. A resurfaced clip showed Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett clashing with Florida Representative Byron Donalds. But this wasn't about policies, taxes, or the usual debates we see in Washington. This was personal. Instead of focusing on political issues, she took aim at his personal life, even questioning his family choices. For many, it crossed a line, because bringing private matters into the public spotlight is a move that rarely goes unnoticed.
Literally, it's because you married a white woman and so you think that whitewashed you.
That's not very woke, is it? Of course, Crockett isn't the only Democrat who's opposed to interracial marriage, or else more Democrats would have voted for this one.
This wasn't just messy politics, it was a direct jab that shocked even those who usually ignore these debates. As soon as the clip resurfaced, it painted Jasmine Crockett as a rising voice in the Democratic Party, bold, unfiltered, and unafraid to spark controversy. But this time, the backlash was different. Many critics called her remarks outdated and divisive, the kind of rhetoric that fuels conflict rather than solutions. While some loyal supporters rushed to defend her, reactions across the political spectrum were loud and demanding answers. Before we continue, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps. Use Scrowl and bring you more eye-opening stories. Now, back to the story. The tension around that old clip set the stage for one of the most heated on-air clashes. Because once those words reached Greg Gutfeld, it was only a matter of time before sparks flew live on television. And when the showdown finally happened, it wasn't just a debate.
I go to you for no particular reason. Is she making any point there?
Like this makes me wish my mom made different father choices. Because we all get sucked into this. Like, this is, if you're gonna talk about black history, at least know it. This is, at least know.
The moment Jasmine Crockett brought her high-energy theatrics onto live TV, Greg Gutfeld was ready. With sharp sarcasm and quick comebacks, he turned her dramatic pauses and fiery delivery back on her. What she expected to be a big moment of defiance quickly shifted. As Gutfeld dismantled her arguments with cold precision, the audience wasn't silent. Either they laughed and cheered as Crockett struggled to recover. What started as her stage soon became his arena. Unlike mainstream outlets that often let her dramatic style slide, Gutfeld treated her like a true opponent, cutting through her talking points with one-liners that landed hard. Social media picked up instantly. Clips of the exchange went viral, showing how Gutfeld turned what was supposed to be her spotlight into his victory. She came armed with theatrics, but he came armed with sharp rebuttals, and the result left Crockett exposed. What stood out most was Crockett's style. Instead of serious policy or solutions, she leaned on fiery rants and sound bites designed for social media. While her fan base may see it as fighting for justice, others saw it as noise. Gutfeld and Tyrus weren't convinced. They called her out as more of a performer than a politician, someone focused on viral clips, rather than legislative wins. Tyrus, in particular, didn't hold back. He pointed out her overconfidence and noted that if she wanted to bring history into the debate, she should come prepared with real facts. Without that, her performance looked less like strength and more like a cautionary tale. Then came the comment that sparked even more backlash: her remarks on immigration and farming. Crockett argued that America needs immigrants because, in her words, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. She even referenced cotton picking, claiming no one in modern America would ever do that type of work. The panel froze at first, stunned by the comment, and then Gutfeld fired back. He mocked how disconnected her statement was and reminded viewers that America has some of the best farmers in the world, hardworking people who take pride in agriculture and put food on the nation's table.
But it goes back to, that was 45 seconds of some of the, like, Kamala, you good right now. That was some of the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. Here's the thing. This goes back to what we talked about earlier. They never have a solution. Just listen to your dumbass talk. You want to talk about agriculture? Why don't you fix the lottery? Why don't you make it easier for people who want to come into this country to work in agriculture and equitation and factories? Get rid of the lottery. Open it up. Talk to the president. Hey, we got a plan. We want to make it easier for people who can vet and come in and work in this country. Come up with an idea besides, any of y'all want to pick cotton? We're like, we're in suits in the middle of the Midwest. Why would we pick cotton? It's like the extreme stupidness of what she speaks. I'm so angry right now.
Tyrus didn't hold back either. He ridiculed Crockett's comments, calling them some of the weakest arguments he'd ever heard on air. For him, it wasn't a serious take on immigration. It was an attempt to sound bold without offering real solutions. The backlash online was just as intense. Viewers tore apart her cotton remark, calling it not just offensive but reckless. Instead of sparking meaningful discussion, Crockett turned the debate into a spectacle. And in doing so, she gave Greg and his panel the perfect chance to dismantle her words piece by piece. Exposing how little substance was behind them, Greg didn't stop there. He pointed out the contradictions in her entire message. On one hand, she speaks of unity and justice. On the other, she throws out divisive lines that only deepen divides. That hypocrisy hit harder than any single remark. Then came the sting her record in office. Greg reminded viewers that for all the fiery speeches and viral clips, Crockett hasn't delivered any major legislative wins. No landmark bills, no meaningful policy breakthroughs, just sound bites designed to trend. To Greg, that was the real issue. She wasn't acting like a leader, but like a brand more focused on performance than progress that the crowd felt the shift. What began as her moment quickly became Greg's stage. Every dramatic pause and every buzzword she used turned into fuel for his punchlines. Laughter broke out again and again, this time at her expense. Tyrus added fuel to the fire, comparing her antics to a comedy act. He stressed how out of touch her farming comments were, reminding viewers that America's farmers are skilled, modern, and vital to the nation's future. They're not living in the 1800s, he said. They use technology and they take pride in their work. What made it worse was Crockett's confidence. She seemed to believe she had scored a win, when in reality, she looked lost and disconnected. That contrast between her self-image and the fallout turned the moment into pure political theater. For the audience, it was both shocking and, in a way, entertaining.
He's so rotten, she wants migrants picking cotton. We present to you Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who made this shocking argument why America needs immigrants. Roll it, Alfred.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands.
This is when the wheels fall off.
You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough.
Tyrus pointed out the double standards. He argued that if a white politician had made the same remarks about race or marriage, they'd likely be removed from the stage instantly. But when Crockett said it, many of her defenders brushed it off as passion. Tyrus wasn't buying it. He said people in his own community should hold her accountable. 2, because divisive words are wrong no matter who says them. Crockett's defenders quickly jumped in, labeling all criticism as racism, sexism, or bigotry. But Greg cut through that noise with his sharp edge, making it clear, criticism isn't hate, it's accountability. If you can't handle being challenged, then politics might not be the right place. The panel's message was blunt. No one gets a free pass. If Crockett wanted the national spotlight, she had to own the words she spoke. And this time, there was no escaping the backlash. Social media only made things bigger. Within hours, memes and clips flooded timelines. One of the most shared showed Greg towering over a cartoon version of Crockett with the caption, "Sit down and learn something." Others replayed the exchange like a UFC knockout, breaking down every moment where Greg's rebuttals landed and Crockett stumbled. The irony? Crockett walked into it all on her own. There was no trap, no ambush, just her stepping up to the mic with confidence, ready to deliver her usual zingers. But instead of applause, she ended up buried under the weight of her own words.
Still need, she's getting to be the face of that party.
I know, thanks to your show.
Yeah.
I don't know what's more popular, this or The View on Gutfeld. But a couple of things. Did you see, at first I thought she was doing it for comedic purposes, but you watch back, nobody had a response. They didn't know what the hell she was talking about. And she's like, oh, really? Farming? Yes, it's called eating, farming. America's got the best farmers in the world. There's glory in doing it. People do it, and the people don't do it by hand anymore. This isn't 1820. So I was just stunned by what she's saying. But the weird thing is, she probably left that room thinking she knocked it out of the park. And I don't think that anyone can stop her from being the face of the party, except Bernie Sanders, who's 111 years old, talking about oligarchs.
The studio crowd wasn't holding back either. Every sharp jab from Greg landed like a punchline, sending waves of laughter through the audience. The more Crockett tried to regain control, the more it slipped away. What was supposed to be her moment of strength turned into a very public unraveling. Greg, meanwhile, looked calm and collected. With his trademark smirk, he dismantled her points as if it were second nature. Crockett tried to fire back with big phrases like systemic, oppression, and voice of the people, but they bounced right off Greg's sharp, sarcastic edge. It was like watching someone yell at a brick wall that smirked right back. Her rising volume didn't help. The louder she got, the clearer the holes in her argument became. Greg didn't need to shout. His calmness made every word sting more, almost like a customer service rep with a brutal edge. Polite, composed, and devastatingly effective. The audience was loving it. Every one-liner from Greg set off another round of laughter. What was meant to be Crockett's show of strength became a live example of what happens when viral style politics meets real pushback. And the funniest part, Greg didn't even need to get angry. His timing, his sarcasm, and that grin were enough to turn her performance into a train wreck. By the end, the room wasn't inspired or impressed, it was laughing at her, not with her. The longer it went on, the more obvious it became. Crockett wasn't just struggling, she was being exposed. Greg underlined that point by turning the spotlight on her record. For all the fiery speeches and social media moments, there were no landmark bills, no major legislative wins, just theatrics. He compared her to a reality TV contestant, someone mistaking chaos for charisma. That might work for viral clips and hashtags, but it doesn't move the country forward. Even her fellow Democrats seemed hesitant to defend her. Some laughed, others stayed silent, but no one rushed to back up the cotton-picking remarks or her personal jab at Byron Donalds. It was as if they knew she had crossed a line but didn't dare say it aloud. Greg's breakdown made it crystal clear. Crockett had mistaken being viral for being valuable. And in politics, that mistake doesn't just make you look weak, it makes you a liability to your own cause. What she thought was a victory lap became a reminder that when the cameras shut off, leaders are judged by results, not outbursts. Greg turned the clash into a bigger lesson for every politician. chasing social media fame instead of real solutions. He showed what happens when flashy sound bites run into real pushback. Every hole gets exposed. And it wasn't just about Crockett. It was about a whole new wave of lawmakers who confuse likes and retweets with leadership. The truth is simple. People are tired of theatrics. They want solutions, not TikTok tantrums. And here's what really hurt her image. Instead of applause or sympathy, she walked away with silence and a flood of memes mocking her every move. Greg didn't just counter her arguments. He revealed the gap between how she sees herself and how the public actually sees her. By the end, Crockett was still swinging, but nothing landed. She doubled down with over-the-top lines, even calling out opponents by name and joking about physical confrontations. But instead of looking strong, it looked desperate, a last-ditch attempt to claw back attention. The buzzwords spilled out, but they carried no weight. Greg barely reacted, leaning back with that same smirk, almost daring her to keep going. The audience, meanwhile, was eating it up. Every sarcastic jab from Greg felt like another blow to her credibility. What was meant to be a bold stand turned into a comedy show at her expense. In the end, Crockett left not with momentum, but with memes. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. We'll see you in the next one.